take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. And this is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set the right pronunciation and use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, wake up to the world with vision. They say nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got the mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness it, treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Diction Avenue. As you may already know, this is that one program on television where you learn how to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba and I am your host on the show today. And on the show today, we are going to be learning a new sound. Yes, get ready for that sound. Remember that for some weeks now, we've been treating the vowel sounds of the English language. And so far, we have taken 18 of the vowel sounds. So we have just 2 to go. So today we'll be taking number 19, and the 19th sound of the vowels of the English sound system. Also on the show today, we'll be learning something about one animal that learned a thing or two. We are going to be taking stories that teach later on in the show, and I am absolutely certain that you will be learning something from our story of the day. But as usual, we are going to start off with our question of the day. But before I take the question of the day, I want to say a big thank you to all those who have been sending in answers to questions. Some of you never get your answers read, but you just keep sending in answers. Particularly, I would want to thank Daniel Olatunji. Thank you for reaching out during the week. And I did say I was going to give you a shout out. So this is the shout out to you, Daniel Olatunji. Well done. And thank you for being a fan of Diction Avenue. This is Daniel from Bagada. Well done. Thanks for being a fan of Diction Avenue. Well, as I said, I'll be taking our question of the day. And I am sure you're ready with your phones to send in the answers to our question of the day. And what is that question? The question will be up on your screen in just a little bit. There it is. Our question for today has to do with homophones. And if you're worried, what are homophones? I'm going to tell you what homophones are because I really want you to get the correct answer to the question. Homophones are words that sound exactly alike. They may not be spelled in the same way, but they sound exactly the same way. So which of these pairs of words are not homophones? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Or is it D? What do you think? Well, think fast and send in your answer even faster to the number 0805-584-9525. And I will be here to take your answers. Do not forget to include your name and where you are texting from. Remember, the number is for text messages only. Do not call because I won't pick. But do send your text message and I will sure to take your answer as much as the time permits us to. Also, remember you can send your answer via WhatsApp. It's the same number, 0805-584-9525. So go right ahead and begin to send in your answers. You may have guessed we are taking vowel number 19 today, and that vowel is called heir. That's the sound we're taking today, the heir sound, the phoneme heir. Phoneme, as I always say every week on this show, and I'm sure that at this point you already know, the word phoneme means sound. So we're taking the heir sound. Just like the sound we took last week, heir is a British sound. Americans usually do not use this sound. They would replace the sound with the very first vowel. So instead of going heir, they'll go air. And this causes some kind of confusion when people hear a word pronounced by an American and then they hear the British pronunciation. They begin to wonder what's wrong here. Well, the only thing that's wrong, if we are to even call it wrong, is that the three sounds, the one I took last week, which is ear, this sound air, and the one I'll take next week, God willing, are all sounds used by the British. So they're British English sounds. So we're going to look at word examples for the heir sound. It's a diphthong, which means it's two sounds in one. You'd say the first sound eh and the second sound u. You bring it together and it makes heir. So that's the very first word example, the parent. And that is a word where the letter A spells the heir sound. Parent. Parent. So, well, I would, of course, say what people usually say for this word. They'll go parent. Well, the word is not parent. It's pair. Parent. 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 Take note that the second E is a schwa, which means you go runt, not rent. And the first sound is air, not a or a. I've actually heard people say parent. No, it's not parent, it's not parent, it's not parent, it's parent. 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 Of course, the other alternative that you would sometimes hear is with the S sound. So you might hear parent, which is the way the Americans would say the word. So let's look at sentence example for the word parent. Parent, it's the letter A that gives you the air sound, and the sentence goes, good parents love their children. Good parents love their children. Good parents love their children. Well, you'd notice that the word there is also in red, and that's because in its strong form, when you're saying that word, you say air. But then there is a weak form of the word, so we don't really come out to say there. Good parents love their children, their children. Good parents love their children. And that's a sentence example. Of course, after we finish taking the vowel sounds, moving on with other topics, we'll talk about weak forms of words. We'll talk about syllable stress and all of that. And when we're discussing those topics, you'll get to understand why some words do not achieve their full pronunciation when you're speaking and you just use a weaker form. We'll talk about that. But let me not confuse this lesson. We're discussing the air sound. And we're moving right on to take another word example for the air sound. This time we're looking at a name. And this name also has the letter A saying air. And the name is Mary. 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 Aha. That's how you say that name, not Mary or Mary. It's not Mary, it's Mary. Mary. As I mentioned earlier, the Americans would not say air, they'll say eh. So you could hear some people say Mary for this name, and that's right. But it's not May, it's not Mary, and definitely not Mary. So Mary is the name, and we're going to look at a sentence example for the word Mary, or for the name Mary, and that's a sentence there that reminds me of a song. Take a message to Mary. If you're old school like me, you probably have heard that song. Take a message to Mary, but then tell her I'm in jail. Yeah. So Mary, Mary, that's the name. So take note of that. The letter A in that word says heir, Mary. Right. We are moving on to another name yet, which also is spelled with the letter A, but has the sound heir. And that name is Sarah. 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 So if your name is Sarah, please do say your name is Sarah, not Sarah. The name is not Sarah, it's Sarah. 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 That's how you pronounce that name. And then we'll look at sentence example for the word or for the name Sarah, whichever you choose. I know a girl called Sarah. I know a girl called Sarah. I do know a girl called Sarah, by the way. So, learn to say your name correctly. Learn to pronounce it correctly. If you're having difficulty, take it slow. Say, say, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. And remember the name we took before was Mary, and this is Sarah. So if you have two friends, their names will be Mary and Sarah. So take note of that. We're going to look at other spelling variants. Remember that a sound can be spelled in different ways. And that is why we do not rely on the letters to know how a word is pronounced. We always pay attention to the sounds. Remember, that's why we're discussing the English sound system. And so we're looking at the various ways that the sound heir can be spelled, and we're moving right on with another spelling variant. And this time we're looking at two different spelling variants in one, and that's because the words you have there are homophones. Remember that I gave out a question regarding homophones at the beginning of the show, and here is an example of a homophone. There, there, and that's the-H-E-R-E and T-H-E-I-R. Pronounced exactly the same way but spelled differently. Of course, it's when you use it in a sentence that you'll be able to tell the difference between the two words. Ordinarily, when you're just pronouncing the words, it may be almost impossible to tell which word you are pronouncing. So let's look at a word example. A word example will help us differentiate between the two words. By the way, one of the words is a pronoun and the other is an adverb, I believe. So let's look at this sentence example that will help us differentiate between the two words. There is no way to repair their car. There is no way to repair their car. There is no way to repair their car. And you can see another word is introduced there, repair, with the air sound in it. And so we have a good number of words there with the air sound, there, and repair. And we can see three different spelling variants, E-R-E, E-I-R, and A-I-R. Well, we're going to look at another word example and another spelling variant. I always say this often during the show so that you get it right. You do not say, oh, this word is spelled E-R-E, therefore it must say this. No, that's not how it works. You need to be friends with your dictionary. You need to look at the sound and you need to know what that sound is. And that is what will guide proper pronunciation of words. And so we're looking at another word example, and this time A-R-E is the spelling variant we're looking at for the S sound. And so the word we have is compare, compare, compare. You can see that the loud part of the word is the second part of the word, compare, compare. Right. And the spelling variant here is A-R-E. It's the A-R-E that says the sound air. Now let's look at sentence example, and this sentence we're looking at is quite poetic. Poetic, if you have listened or read Shakespeare, that's another word with the S sound, pair, Shakespeare, then the sentence may be very familiar to you, and that is, to what may I compare thee? To what may I compare thee? To what may I compare thee? Of course, Old English uses thee, thou, knowest, makest, and all the other words. But sometimes when you're writing and you want to add some flavor to your writing, you may just decide to borrow from Old English to make it more flavorful. So compare, that's the word we're looking at here with the air sound. Compare. We move on directly to the next word. I hope you're taking note of these words. You are repeating them. You're saying them to yourself, because that's the only way you can improve. When you hear a word said in a way that you're not used to, what you should do is to repeat the word to yourself. Say it over and over, because repetition promotes retention. When you repeat and repeat, before you know it, it becomes part of you, and you have learned that. And once you've learned it for life, because the word wouldn't change its pronunciation for thousands of years. So we're moving on to the next word, and this time we're looking at AIR as a spelling variant, and the word is repair. Remember, we saw this word earlier, and now we're taking it. Repair, repair, repair. That's how you pronounce that word, and we're going to look at a spelling. Sentence example. Yes, that's what we're going to look at next. We're looking at a sentence example with the word repair. And our sentence goes, he took the car for repairs. Remember what I always say about the plural form? When a word ends in a vowel sound and you're adding an S, the S becomes the Z sound. So, repairs. He took the car for repairs. Repairs. Right, so that is another air word. And to wrap up our lesson on the air sound, I have 3 words. That's 3. 3 words that I would like you to add to your vocabulary. So pay attention as we take the next 3 words. And the words are chair. Chair. Take note, this word is not chair, it's chair. The next word is air. Take note that the H in that word is silent. So you don't go hair, you go air. And then finally, compare. Compare. That's the final word. And of course, a compere is someone who does announcements, sometimes television. Person is a compere. For instance, I can describe myself as a compere, can I? Maybe. All right. So that's a compare. Compare. And so those are 3 words that you should say over and over. Chair, not cheer. Air, not hair. And compare. Compare. Add those to your vocabulary. Right. So say them. Remember, practice, practice, practice. That's the only way you can get better. And if you have any questions, what should you do? Well, send us your questions. Don't forget to visit our website, www.ecom.ng. You will find plenty of resources that would help you become a better speaker of the English language. You can also email us at admin@ecom.ng. You can tweet us at ecomng, or go right now and like us on Facebook, Institute of Certified Communicators. Or of course, you can always send a WhatsApp message to 0805-584-9525. So many opportunities for you to reach us, so many platforms you can use. And if you want to learn how to speak right, sound English, you know exactly where to go and who to call. Just visit our website. You'll find tons of resources. You'll also find tons of classes that you can take. Now that everybody's home, you can learn to be a better speaker of English by taking one of our classes. So just go right ahead and find something that would work for you. And so I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed that lesson on the air sound. We are going to be looking at the question that I gave at the beginning of the show again before we take a break for stories that teach. And that question is, which of the following pairs of words are not homophones? Now that you know what the air sound is, look at those words and ask yourself, which two do not sound exactly alike? And you know what to do when you get the answer? Yep, pick up your phone and send us a message. 0805-584-9525 is the number to text. Do not forget to include your name and where you're texting from so that we can talk to you directly. And on that note, we're going to be taking a break now for stories that teach. On the other side, we will talk about what lessons you could take from that story. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Stranger danger. Terry and Tara were two turtles who lived under the sea. Every day they would have breakfast of plants and fish cake before they go to school. Then Mother Turtle would remind them of the rules to keep them safe. Go straight to school and come straight home. Don't talk to strangers, and if strangers try to talk to you, tell them you can't talk to them. On this day, Terry was ill, and so Tara had to go to school all alone. Mother Turtle was so busy taking care of Terry that she did not make breakfast for Tara. Tara went to school hungry. On her way to school, Tara was very hungry. She wanted to get to school on time so that she could buy something for breakfast. "Hey, kiddo," Tara heard a strange voice call. "Would you like some fish cake?" It was Sniper the shark, who ate little turtles for breakfast. Tara's tummy growled. She would really love some fish cakes. But then she remembered her mother's warning about strangers. Tara did not wait to find out who owns the strange voice. "Mother said never to talk to strangers," she shouted as she ran off to school. The end.
Back. I hope you learned something from that story. Don't talk to strangers, and if a stranger tries to talk to you, tell them you don't talk to strangers. And that's just it. Always listen to your parents because they are wiser than you are, and whatever they ask you to do, do. So that's the lesson we get from that story. Tara listened to her mom, and that saved her from being eaten by the shark. And you never know what dangers are out there. So always, always take the instructions that you are given and stay safe. Right. Remember that we gave her the question, and the question was, which of the following pairs of words are not homophones? And I have so many answers that have already come in. Well, you still have an opportunity to send in an answer, but I am going to be taking the answers that are sent in already. And this is Makinde Precious, who came strong with a very correct answer. Makinde Precious, thank you very much. That's Makinde from Iju Ishaga. Correct answer. Let me move right on. And this is Chioma with a wrong answer. Oh, I'm sorry, Chioma. Try again. This is Samuel Udama from Kaduna State with a correct answer. Well done, Samuel. And then we move on to Abdul Mufid Mustafa from Ilorin, who also gave us a correct answer. I am so happy. I'm happy when I get correct answers to the questions. My name is Faith Ekeleme. Oh, Faith Ekeleme, you gave us a wrong answer. Thanks for participating anyway. And this is Ayo Afuwape from Ogun State with a correct answer. Very good. And I have Felicity from Okearo. Felicity gave us a correct answer. Well done, Felicity. I'll take one more answer and then I would have to give the answer to the question. This is Oti Promise from Ogun State with a wrong answer. So what is the correct answer to that question? We are going back to look at that question now. Which of the following pairs of words are not homophones? Well, I'm sure we're going to have that question come up so that we can take the answer. If you said A, then no, that's not the correct answer, because A has two words that are pronounced exactly the same way. Heir and heir. They're pronounced the same way, so they're homophones. If you said B, then you're also wrong, because the two words are pronounced the same way, bear and bear. If you said C, that's also a wrong answer, because the two words there are pronounced the same way, fair and fair. But if you said D, then you were right, because the two words in D are not pronounced the same way. It's were and were. So D is the correct answer to our question of the day. I'd like to say thank you to all those who sent in answers, whether your answer was correct or wrong. I'm sure you learned something from the show today. Next week, we're going to take more lessons, learn some new words, learn some new pronunciations. I'll be here. I hope you'll be there to watch as well. So until I come your way next week, do not forget to visit ecom.ng and learn something new. Till I see you next week, my name is Abigail Anaba. Bye for now.
Get the right pronunciation and you use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue. Diction Avenue.
Okay, wake up to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness it, treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.